Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, that's tuning into our online forum today. I'm Amira Fatima, your moderator for today's forum. It is an honor to have both of our very important panels here on this Google Meet platform. As the COVID-19 cases and rate of infections are still going up and down, we have no choice but to connect virtually in this new norm. And okay, today I'm sure that this topic will catch anyone's attention as it is one of the hottest and important topics that everyone will surely anticipate to hear about. So the topic that we are discussing today is entitled Small Pieces of the Big COVID-19. Before we continue, I would like to introduce both of our very honorable panels here, Miss Aisha and Miss Munira, the health counselor of University of Malaya to discuss today's topic with us today. Very good morning to both of you.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Okay, so without further ado, we will start with the introduction of COVID-19. I'll give a little bit of sneak peek on this method. Let's go back to where it all started. Retrospective investigations by Chinese authorities have identified human cases with onset symptoms in early December 2019 when there was a sudden emergence of acute pneumonia cases that was shown by the locals. While some of the earliest known cases had a link to a wholesale food market in Wuhan, some did not. Many of the initial patients were either stall owners, market employees, or regular visitors to this market. Environmental samples taken from this market in December 2019 tested positive for SARS-CoV-2, or also known as COVID-19, further suggesting that the market in Wuhan city was the source of this outbreak or played a role in the initial amplification of this outbreak. The market was closed on the 1st January 2020, and the disease first appeared in Wuhan, China in December 2019 and quickly spread across the globe. And as of now, the data showed that there are more than 250 million confirmed cases and more than 5 million deaths caused by this pandemic globally. So the first question that we have for our panels here today is, other than COVID-19, what are other viruses that we should know and can be related to this COVID-19? Is this kind of situation normal for humans?
So, among various infections, acute respiratory tract infection are the most common diseases affecting all individuals irrespective of age or gender. In terms of contagious ability and medical emergency, the greatest infections are typically associated with RSV, influenza A or B, and coronaviruses, which have caused severe epidemics and pandemics. Still, among others, the corona and influenza viruses undoubtedly cause more serious symptoms. Indeed, some of the most serious and prolonged historical and current infections outbreaks are associated with these viruses with which have affected a large population, but especially older individuals. SARS-CoV-2 belongs to the family Coronaviridae. Being a zoonotic virus, a coronavirus has the ability to transmit from animals to humans and also among humans through airborne aerosol. So far, several animals and birds have been identified as reservoirs for this virus, including camels, pig, turkey, mice, dogs, bats, and others. However, among these animals, the bat is the most widely known carrier for human infection.
So thank you, Miss Aisha. There was a lot of information. So now we know that there are more than one animal that can carry the virus. So what is actually COVID-19 and what is its relation to it coronavirus? Are they the same thing? Because we kept on hearing them together. So what is your opinion, Ms. Munira?
What is actually COVID? So that the so that be truthful to everyone, we must know that this virus is a part of coronavirus that has been around for a long, long time. Coronavirus has been known to cause human infection since the 1960s, which caused and misinterpreted as common cold. It was later that decade research found a group of similar human and animal virus and named it after its crown-like appearance or similar to solar corona, giving its name coronavirus. However, the potential of this virus to cause deadly epidemic come to fall in the last 2 decades only. COVID-19 is the third major outbreak of respiratory disease in 20 years related to coronavirus, which has significantly disturbed the socio-economic balance of the entire world. Humans have witnessed three deadly pandemics so far in the 21st century, which are associated with novel coronavirus SARS, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome (MERS), and COVID-19. All of these viruses, which are responsible for causing acute respiratory tract infections, are highly contagious in nature and have caused high mortalities. The recently emerged COVID-19 disease is a high transmissible viral infection caused by another zoonotic novel coronavirus named acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus or SARS-CoV-2. Similar to the other two coronaviruses are SARS-CoV-1 at Fujian, China 2002 and MERS-CoV at Saudi Arabia 2012. SARS-CoV-2 is also like to have originated from bats, which have been served as established reservoir for various pathogenic coronavirus.
Okay, that was a lot of information to Miss Mudira. So, what was actually the situation that possibly set the stage for the virus to act? And what we have to know more about COVID-19 actually?
So, the local authorities reported that SARS-CoV-2 made the jump to humans at one of Wuhan's open air, which is wet markets. That's where customers buy fresh meat and fish, including animals that are killed on the spot. Some wet markets sell wild or banned species like cobras, white boars, and raccoon dogs. Crowded conditions can let viruses from different animals swap genes. Sometimes the virus changes so much it can start to infect and spread among people. Although it is unknown how SARS-CoV-2 is transmitted from bats to humans, the rapid human to human transmission has been confirmed widely. Still, the Wuhan market didn't sell bats at the time of the outbreak. That's why early suspicion also fell on pangolins, also called as scaly anteaters, which are sold illegally in the some markets in China. Some coronaviruses that infect pangolins are similar to SARS-CoV-2. As SARS-CoV-2 spread both inside and outside China, it affected people who had no direct contact with animals. That means the is transmitted from one human to another. It's now spreading around the globe, meaning the people are unwittingly catching and passing on the coronavirus. This growing worldwide transmissions is what is now a pandemic.
So, okay, we know that there are we know that it's not only bad is the cause of the coronavirus. So, okay, it is also rumored that the virus might be some kind of karma on humans or a plan set up by the government to reduce the human population. What do you think about it, and how far can we actually trust this kind of source?
Firstly, I would say that this virus is something that is unpredictable and we should think that there must be a message from it, whether to open our eyes or a karma on us. That is not nothing that I can say much, but I am sure that it is something the world offered to us to make us realize on what we did wrong. WHO state that all the available evidence points to make out that this virus definitely has a zoonotic source. Many research have been able to look at the genomic feature as of SARS-CoV-2 and have found that evidence does not support that SARS-CoV-2 is a laboratory construct. A constructed virus would show a mix of no element within genomic sequence. So here we can say that it does not have anything to do with human creation, none at all.
Oh, now I get it. Okay, Miss Mira, due to quarantine and restrictions in many industries and economic growth to reduce the infections, how badly do you think the world and Malaysia itself is burdened, especially in health-wise and economics?
There is widespread agreement among economists that COVID-19 will have severe negative impact on the global economy. The pandemic has caused over 200,000 deaths worldwide, and as of May 2020, no other country is badly affected by the coronavirus outbreak as United States. The spread of the virus encouraged social distancing, which led to the shutdown of financial market, corporate office, business, and event. Most major economies will lose at least 2.9% of their gross domestic product over 2020. Several countries issue stay-at-home order to their citizens, which means that millions of people are unable to go to work. Lot of people lost their job or were forced to reduce their employment radically throughout 2020. As a result, 131 million more people globally were classified as poor. When the increasing number of lockdown days, monetary policy decisions, and international travel restrictions severely affect the level of economic activity, and the closing opening lowers and heightens the stock price of major stock market index. By doing so, the economic sector will be severely affected by the pandemic. Some goes to Malaysia. Such temporary actions such as MCO or sanctions, physical imprisonment, and quarantine have reportedly caused an increase in depression, stress, and anxiety among individuals in Malaysia. Fears and anxiety about COVID-19 can potentially be extraordinary and therefore increase mental stress on oneself and society. Understandable, COVID-19 is of great concern to all Malaysians, especially when cases increase dramatically. People with pre-existing mental illness suffer a greater risk of relapse, owing to fears, anxiety, and depression. This can be life-threatening for people with problems like this. This problem will often be faced by students, frontliner, and parents. For example, the students stress because of their learning online at home and at the same time their family having problem. This situation will be worse if the family suffer from lack of money to buy study items at home such as laptop and internet, while the front line will feel stressed because cases are constantly increased and there is a shortage of staff, especially doctor. Therefore, this problem needs to be treated immediately so as not to prolong to face of this problem. On economy, government measures such as movement control order not only limit one's movement outside and social economies, but one's job status jeopardized as well. Numerous non-essential businesses are forced to come to a halt. Financial difficulty quickly set in, and many groups of the population, especially those in the B14 and M14 category, have already lost their source of income or are in the verge of termination. This is because some of people in Malaysia cannot work as usually and some of people given unpaid leave, which means being laid off due to a downturn in the economy. And at the same time, we cannot go travel, and foreigners also cannot come to Malaysia to contribute to our country economy because they are afraid of being infected by the virus. On the politics side, politics had to be stopped when COVID-19 cases were increased in Malaysia. Yang di-Pertuan Agong warned politicians in May 2020 that he would like to advise against drag the country once again into a political mess that bring uncertainty. In January 2021, a state of emergency was declared, suspended all election and parliament, and the government will improve the pass law without oversight in response to the pandemic and ongoing political instability. Therefore, Malaysia cannot hold election and run parliament as usual. But in this way, our country can reduce COVID-19 case in Malaysia. Finally, the effect of COVID-19 from the social aspect in Malaysia is society needs to practice social distancing of 1 meter to prevent people from touching other and to be able to cope the spread of this pandemic, COVID-19. When we go out of the house to go somewhere, we have to keep ourselves away from other by 1 meter. We also cannot make limits between siblings or other as this could increase COVID-19 case in Malaysia. Therefore, this will affect people who live far away from their family. This will be even sadder when our family members have passed away and we are unable to visit them for the last time. Not only that, we also cannot make a wedding and cannot go to an event. We also cannot celebrate the festive day by visiting a neighbor house because COVID-19 is still on our country. I hope that this virus is reduced and we can do as many activities as we want.
So, okay, thank you, Ms. Munira. Moving on, we will go to how COVID-19 actually arrived in Malaysia. So, we all know that COVID-19 started in Wuhan, China, and from that, the virus spread through multiple different clusters globally. And for Malaysia, the first case reported traced back to three Chinese nationals that had close contact with an infected person in Singapore, and they were treated at Sungai Buloh Hospital. The Ministry of Health quickly devised standard guidelines for management of COVID-19. And as of 4th of February 2020, 41-year-old man started to develop a fever and a cough because he had recently returned from Singapore. And then 4-year-old Chinese national girl who had also been isolated was allowed to return to China. And then, as of 6th of February 2020, a 40-year-old female Malaysia reported positive for COVID-19. She had no travel history to infected areas, but she was the younger sister of the 41-year-old that confirmed as positive. And COVID-19 cases continue to spread as of March 2020 when a religious event led to an exponential rise in cases. So we also have heard about a lot of new variants that came in after one another. Um, okay, so for example, we have the alpha variant, and then we also have beta variant that are both have 50% higher transmission than the original one. So we also have the gamma variant that was identified in Japan in four travelers arriving from Brazil in November 2020. And the gamma variant has mutations in spike protein and can cause reinfections. The last one is the Delta variant that was identified in India in the October of 2020. Also have the increase in spike protein, more attachable to body cells, and can cause more reinfections. Delta plus variants have a mutation in the spike protein found in both the beta and gamma variants that may help to evade neutralizing antibodies, which means that the newest variant can neutralize antibodies and affect the cell even more. So how far should we be concerned about the recent variants and the possibilities predicted by scientists that the COVID-19 will evolve even more and more, making it harder for us to know when exactly all this will come to an end? Um, may I know your opinion, Miss Aisha?
Coronaviruses have all their genetic material in something called RNA. RNA have some similarities to DNA, but they aren't the same. When viruses infect you, they attach to your cell and get inside them and make copies of their RNA, which help them spread. If there is a copy mistake, the RNA gets changed. Scientists call those changes as mutations. These changes happen randomly and by accident. It is a normal part of what happens to viruses as they multiply and spread. Because the changes are random, they may make a little to no difference in a person's health. Other time, they may cause disease. For example, one reason you need a flu shot every year is because influenza viruses change from year to year. This year, flu virus probably isn't exactly the same one that circulated last year.
Okay, thank you, Miss Aisha. So, moving on, we will go to okay. As a community, as an individual ourselves, there are plenty ways to help us overcome or reduce the infection rate and protect each other. For example, 3C, 3W, and get vaccinated. Would you like to elaborate more on that?
Okay, so there are many ways suggested to break the COVID-19 pandemic infection change. Ministry of Health Malaysia stressed to the public the importance to adhere and practice 3W by washing their hands, wearing face masks, and warn staff and others by avoiding headshakes. We can still greet people and say hello by placing our right hand on the left side of our chest and bowing a little side as a sign of respect. Avoid the three C's. It is crowded places, nets, the confined spaces, and finally close conversations such as in the meeting, at the counters, and workstation should be avoided. And finally, get vaccinated is our main way to overcome COVID-19. It is because vaccines are a very powerful tool in our fight against COVID-19. We can see light at the end of coronavirus tunnel as vaccine rollout success leave gloom. Getting vaccinated is the best way to protect ourselves and help control the infection rate. Herd immunity is our goal actually. Herd immunity occur when a large portion of community becomes immune to a disease. As the result, the whole community becomes protected. Using the concept of herd immunity, vaccines have successfully control contagious diseases such as smallpox, polio, rubella, and many others.
Okay, so we all know that vaccination is very, very important. However, it is not 100% cure or prevention towards COVID-19 as it helps to build or increase our immunity and it needs time. What do you think about it and what's important about it, Miss Munira?
Understanding vaccine-induced immunopathology is critically important for all emerging infection disease. Vaccine can increase our body immune system. This means if we take the vaccine, the antibody in our body will increase. Antibody are likely to be an important part of vaccine-induced protection. If we take the vaccine, we are not risk to the serious COVID-19. If one day we are infected with COVID-19, we will feel less sick than people who do not take the vaccine. This is caused by vaccines that have boost our body immunity. And at the same time, vaccine also can protect us from virus COVID-19. We can go anywhere without worrying about virus, but we must take care of ourselves by following the instructions set by the government. Not only that, vaccine also can protect those around us from virus COVID-19. For example, we infect by the vaccine but people around us not infect from us. When they are not infected, this instant cause the COVID virus to spread to others. The vaccine also can reduce this due to COVID-19 because we have a strong antibody system. This horizontal bar diagram shows that COVID-19 vaccine dosing rate compared to the Malaysian population as of 3 November 2021. This diagram shows the percentage of people who have taken the vaccine in Malaysia and who have completed two vaccines in Malaysia. As many as 78.1% indicate that overall population in Malaysia had taken at least one dose, while as much as 75.3% indicate that overall population in Malaysia have completed the vaccine. The percentage should almost reach the vaccination target of 18%.
Okay, so moving on. Even though there are many evidence that pointed and convinces us that vaccination is crucially important, in Malaysia itself, there are people who are open about it, and there are people who decided to be secluded. What do you think about the exception, uh, acceptance, and perception on COVID-19 vaccines among Malaysians, Ms. Aisha?
So, as you can see, there are a lot of acceptance and perception on COVID-19 vaccine among Malaysia. So, the first perception is shows that how the vaccine worked on him. He was a COVID fighter who had completed two doses of vaccine. He only had fever for a couple days and lost sense of smell and taste for 3 days only. He gave the positive acceptance and perception on vaccine about about the effectiveness of vaccines. Some of them also give the negative perception on COVID-19 vaccine because some of the vaccine are not approved by other countries. It raised a concern in society for those who already got vaccine. The other perception it shows that vaccine not worth because the cases of people who died and got infected by COVID-19 are still rising, although the national COVID-19 immunization program was held for months. He also questioned how effective COVID-19 vaccine is. So the conclusion is people who still look at the negative side are actually having vaccine hesitancy. Some people may object to getting a COVID-19 vaccine because of religious objections, fear about possible risks, and skepticism about the benefits. If the proportion of vaccinated people in community is below the herd immunity, we have to remember that a contagious disease could continue and spread. So think about it and do not be selfish.
Okay, so as of now, the availability of the vaccine is only limited to three types of vaccine, which are Pfizer, Sinovac, and AstraZeneca in Malaysia. Will you explain more regarding this vaccine, Ms. Mira?
There are three types of vaccine used in Malaysia, namely Pfizer vaccine, Sinovac vaccine, and AstraZeneca vaccine. The Pfizer works to stimulate the immunity in order to recognize the target virus protein. This vaccine can reduce infection by 64%, reduce hospital admission by 93%, reduce ICU admission by 93% too, and also can infection against Delta virus. While Sinovac vaccine is worked to kill the virus and used to stimulate the human immune response, this vaccine also can reduce infection by 65.9%, reduce hospital admission by 87.5%, and reduce ICU admission by 19.3%. The last one is AstraZeneca vaccine. This vaccine works to deliver the genetic material of the target virus and stimulating the human immune response. This vaccine also affects by 67% against the Delta variant and also infection by 19% and is sufficient to fight COVID virus. Each vaccine has a specific function. However, all vaccines can prevent COVID-19 virus infection. I hope all individuals immediately go to the vaccine center to take the vaccine and we can prevent the virus immediately.
Okay, so we have seen the advantages of each of the vaccine and the percentage of the effectiveness. So what's stopping you from getting vaccinated people? So okay, moving on. In Malaysia, according to MOH, 21.8% of our population are still unvaccinated. Either they are still in the waiting list or decided to be an anti-vax. In your opinion, how can we advise them and convince them to take vaccine?
So actually, we have to tell them about what's good about vaccine. So actually, you can see the vaccine can reduce your risk of infection. Once you receive your first shot, your body begins to producing antibodies to the coronavirus. This antibody have your immune system to fight the virus if you happen to be exposed. So it reduces your chance to of getting the disease. There are three vaccines available for use in Malaysia, and they are all more than 70% effective in preventing infection. It's true that you can still become affected after being vaccinated, but once more after the population is vaccinated, those chances are further reduced thanks to something called herd immunity. So getting vaccinated not only reduces your chance of being infected, it also contributes to community protection, reducing the likelihood of virus transmissions. Also, do you know that the vaccine can help your unborn baby or newborn? Studies have found that expectant mothers who receive the vaccine create antibodies to the virus and pass those to their unborn baby through the placenta. There were also shown that pass antibodies to their newborn through the breast milk. This suggests those newborn have some immunity to the virus, which is especially important as young children cannot get vaccine. So the third one is the vaccine protects against severe illness. The vaccine also effective against variants, much like the original strain. All three vaccines will protect you against severe illness and reduce the likelihood for hospitalization. Studies have shown vaccinated people who don't get infected have mild to the moderated cases of COVID-19 compared to those who are not vaccinated. So your risk of hospitalization and death because of COVID-19 is nearly eliminated once you are fully vaccinated. So lastly, the vaccine will help you reconnect with friends and family back. Once you receive the vaccine and wait the recommended time for your body to build immunity, you can visit in person with other people who have been vaccinated, as we know that the government allow people to go anywhere as long as they're fully vaccinated, right? After a year of certainty, the vaccine have arrived and has clear benefits that should make everyone strongly consider getting the shot. By choosing the vaccinated, you can protect not only yourself and your family, but your community as well.
So actually, we are nearly coming to an end to this forum. So we must not forget the person who sacrificed their life for us, especially the frontliners. Okay, so the frontliners are the one who actually sacrifice their life uh, to take care of us, to make sure that we are healthy and not infected by the virus. So let us see what are the privileges that we have compared to the frontliners. Firstly, we can sleep comfortably at home, uh, being able to let ourselves rest, while frontliners might not even have a break. And we also can spend time with our loved ones, safe from direct exposures of the virus, and doesn't need to face death every single day. Can you imagine that? Facing death every single day, it will make someone depressed. And then, okay, so coming to a conclusion, um, if you are selfish, it will directly affect others, taking care of our cleanliness, refer to reliable sources and updates, and be vaccinated. We reduce the infections. Together, we strive toward a new normal, a better and a healthier lifestyle. So, through this forum, we have listened to numerous pieces of advice and information regarding to COVID-19 vaccination. So, what's stopping you from being vaccinated? Yes, it can't be denied that people's opinion can be changed so quickly, and we must also remember that there are people who can't receive certain vaccines due to health concern like allergies and other circumstances that is approved by the doctors and health experts, not just by getting sources from unreliable sources and theories that are not scientifically proven. Bear in mind that these people are specialized in this field and their intention is just to help you, not to sacrifice you. If you have any problems regarding the vaccine, always seek for health experts and not just by asking some random people on the internet. So let's all be vaccinated for the sake of everyone's safety. But if you choose not to be vaccinated, then don't blame others for the privileges that you won't receive. You might be healthy, but remember that others around you might not be. So stay safe, kita jaga kita. Thank you for being us today. Thank you for being with us today, Miss Munira and Miss Aisha. Assalamualaikum and have a great day ahead.